From atop the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR, Newswire, and much more. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Back in November of 2011, Sebastian Martin had a close encounter of the fifth kind, with a stellar being living in the fifth dimensional reality. Right in his living room, he had communications with this being and the rest of his star family ever since, receiving frequent and powerful downloads, all aimed to raise our consciousness and change our vibration. This one is kind of the disturbing experience that forced Sebastian to resort to his services of a hypnotherapist to help him with his anxiety arising from this life-changing encounter, as well as prophetic visions he has had since a child. Since his initial contact, Sebastian has developed new faculties, working with organizations in the field of remote viewing, which led him to discover an agenda larger than he anticipated, involving Men in Black, the secret space program, as well as an understanding of old technologies discovered on Earth, such as stargates and portals. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. Sebastian Martin, it's always a pleasure to have you here on the show, my good friend. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Thanks, Dave.
I got to ask you, reading your intro, when I was typing it out, the one thing that kind of trips me out, my friend, is you and I are relatively close in the same age. I'm a little older, and you're better looking. Yes. I mean, let's just be honest here. Okay, but I do have a beard. But you got one of them, French chins that just, comes out perfectly. The ladies just adore it. But nonetheless, your first encounter that changed your life happened in November 2011. And right. I find that kind of coincidental that you and I have become friends over these last couple of years, good friends. And my first incident happened in mid-December of 2011. What do you think happened in 2011 that caused this to happen for you?
I have no idea. All I know is, I guess it was just a year before 2012. How do I know exactly why exactly? This is one of these things that are still a mystery to me. I've always been drawn to the 11/11 because my encounter happened on that day, so the 11th of November 2011. But since then, things have shifted greatly. I've seen numbers like 111, 1212. I mean, it's constantly those numbers I'm drawn to. But I've just learned recently that in numerology, my birth date equals to 11 as well. So it's interesting. But as you know why, it's so interesting that in the quantum world, we have no idea what's planned for us. And while we are still living this life on this planet, I still believe that we are just a reflection of what's already happening in the cosmos. So what I've discovered through my hypnotherapy sessions and through my encounters is that we are basically avatars of extraterrestrial beings for some, and we are just learning grounds for them. So we are basically experiencing feelings and emotions, basic stuff. And in fact, when Zoe, that being that showed up in my living room in 2011, when he arrived, he told me that all that was important to them was to learn from my emotions, and I was not supposed to be remembering anything, and I was supposed to be dying, and then they would have downloaded this information, and that was it. Unfortunately, I've learned more than that, and somehow this interaction caused my psyche to just develop in a more intense way, and I've been doing that ever since.
you were a very successful and still are a very successful businessman in the private field. And you were somebody who has lived the high life. You've danced with millionaires, hung out with billionaires, smoked cigars with some of the most popular people in the world. And yet here you are going down a rabbit hole that you never expected to happen. How did this change your life from where you were and what you strive to be from a young man throughout your business career to where you are now, comparatively to the life you live now?
Well, it is certainly a big change. I mean, obviously, before my encounter, I could not even come close to the programs like yours or be interested in UFOs. I had zero interest in that field whatsoever. So for me, it was a drastic change. And when it became more pronounced and I had to talk about my experiences and go on radio shows and these sort of things, I approached our CEO of the company at the time because I sold the business in 2014 and I remained a director and I became chairman of the board for 2 years. And in 2016, I resigned so I could actually dedicate my life to do this. It's still a mystery to me as to know exactly what is expected of me. At the same time, I know that I'm hearing in very much like synchronicity, psychics, friends, people out of the blue just telling me things that are coincidental because it coincides with what psychics or tea leaf readers, whatever, told me. And so when you add all these points together, it starts like, making you realize that there must be something to it, even if I'm not sure why. So I'll give you an example. When I went to Scotland, I met with Dominic Bogue, who is a psychic reader, and he's a very genuine guy. He is blind, or he's turning blind anyway. And he was introduced to me by the director of the Paranormal Society of Scotland, and he basically was a skeptic himself. And he said, "I think this is the genuine guy, and I would like him to read you or do a reading for like an hour, if you don't mind." And I said, "Sure." And then within this hour, he basically asked me to just say yes or no to his questions and not to elaborate on anything. And one of the things that really popped up was the fact that he told me that at some point I would be creating a center for psychic children and teach them how to use their third eye. So I thought, well, that's interesting. I mean, there's more than that. It's more... it's a more encompassing experience that will involve third eye reading, but there would be more to it. And I thought, well, this is not possible when you think about it. I mean, kids are going to school. I did one workshop once, which I was very successful. I made my daughter, at the time was 7 years old, I made her read with a blindfold on, and she was able to read a book completely blindfolded within 7 minutes. And that method was very successful with other children, and the people present in the workshop were outstanding. And some of them were like doctors and accountants and teachers, at the schools of my child. And so they were very surprised by the results. But, again, it was a one-off experience that was created because the children have busy lives, they have friends, they want to have play dates. So to have an actual school that would be, working alongside the regular school systems, that would have been almost impossible to achieve. And then coronavirus happens. And you just, wonder, is this a sign? Maybe that at some time or in the near future that the schools will all potentially close again and parents will get more and more fed up with the online learning and trying to keep their kids at home. Because it's a failure. I mean, there's been some recent articles in the media that said that the online learning experiences have been a disaster. Parents cannot be substitute teachers. We're not trained to be. It was very tough for me and my wife to actually do this, but we did it. And then towards the end, it was becoming a bit more laborious because the kids were getting tired of it. They didn't want to do the Zoom, meetings in the morning. They were dragging their feet on their learning experiences. It was tough. It was very challenging. So now they are going back to school, basically 2 days, 3 days per week. It's still better than nothing, but it's still not perfect. So how is that going to be looking like in September if we have a second wave of the coronavirus? This may lead to something else that we have no idea about. So I would try to explain that one, I'm thinking of a second wave is because I don't try to insert fear into people, but this is a possibility, and as a possibility, you just have to realize what has been going on in the past, and obviously businesses have shut down, the economy has taken a huge hit, and we're going to be seeing more of that coming because this is not the end of it. While there's some money pumped out of the government, so right, left, and center, and they're just giving out money to people and businesses, is still not a final solution. And down the line, we are going to be paying the bill. Taxpayers are going to be paying the bill. So that's going to be impacting every single economy around the world. And the alternative to that, and the reason why it's happening actually, it's because there will be a solution brought forward. And that solution will be to have an actual digital currency, and the current economic system will collapse. So Wall Street will collapse, and everything will just get changed. So the New World Order as we know it, and it's been talked about in the news as well, even through the UN, that the New World Order will take over the current governments in place, and the laws will change, the constitutions will change, because all the economies will basically collapse. Wall Street will collapse.
Right.
The whole world is going to be facing a new reality. And again, all of this is already being prepared behind closed doors. It already has happened. So we're just on the forefront of this massive change. We're on a turning point that will dictate how we're going to be leading our lives. And obviously, you know about Bill Gates in his vaccines. We know that he's making a great return on the production and the sale of his vaccines, which would be 20-to-1 ratio, which is huge. So his $10 billion investment will return him like $200 billion, which is a huge amount of money coming up. So that's why he's pushing it for so much. It's not like he's trying to kill the population around the world. He's most interested about the money first and control. And there are some very influential people around the world, like the Rothschild family, who are also trying to play both sides of the coin and trying to support both Trump and Bill Gates, like they always did in the past. You talk about the Second World War, the war with Napoleon and the British. They always been supportive of both sides. So when you see that, you just wonder, what's the end goal here? And the end goal, as we know, is governments and private corporations are trying to include some AI technology to all the vaccines that will be coming up. And we're going to be seeing that with D-Wave and different types of technological advancements that would be completely revolutionizing this world as we know it, and also changing our reality. So in order to make this happen, you have to get some incentives as a human being. So
Right.
It's always driven by entertainment and what pleases us, because we are creatures of comfort. Therefore, if we are presented with some very positive arguments for saying, this would make you smarter, you won't have to work as hard, you can benefit from this new technology, it won't be as laborious, you won't have to use money. The new economy will help you, but in fact, all it's going to be creating is a bigger divide between the poor and the rich. So the middle class will slowly disappear, as it has in other countries. And like when you look at Iran, for example, the middle class is almost non-existent. You either have like poor people or rich people. So when you have totalitarian regimes, that's pretty much what's going to happen down the line. And unfortunately, there are more pieces in place right now. So when you think about the Trump government in America, or even the Trudeau government in Canada, they have different agendas. They have
Yes.
they know that, for example, like Trudeau may be working for the New World Order, Trump may be fighting against it, but at the same time, he's playing also both sides of the coin. So he's trying to benefit from this as much as trying to fight what's already at play, because it could potentially threaten his next presidency too, which is the reason why you can see conservative leaders right now trying to even go against Trump for his re-election, even if
Yes.
they are part of the same party. So, and that's because they are also part of the New World Order and secret societies that are completely against Trump. So they have to make an allegiance today. That's why we are at a turning point. And that's very critical moving forward. So Trump will either succeed or fail in his attempt. But there have been some hearings going on, again, behind closed door. It hasn't been really widely publicized. But, we talked about the Obama Gate and all of these things. That's really just a PR stunt on Trump's part, to be honest. I think it's more about trying to say, well, how influential Obama and Hillary Clinton have been to go against the Trump's first election or as a candidate by inserting like a spy within his his campaign. But it's really just smoking mirrors. We don't really care so much about that.
Let's kind of shy away from the whole political side. I know you're very passionate about that. I don't mean to insult here or anything like that. But with your experiences and everything that you have done, and we're going to get heavy into your remote viewing a little bit later on, but when you look back, say 5 years ago, when you were in the corporate world to where you are now, Sebastian, and learning all of this and learning about the deception that goes on behind the scenes, the secret space program, remote viewing, and you've been, let's face it, you've been a hired gun for certain companies and other places as a remote viewer. I mean, did you ever see your life shifting into that direction?
Not really. No. I mean, basically, it just unfolded that way. And I just got a knack for it. And people just contacted me for my skills because they were just curious. And it's always about, let's test you and let's do this and let's do that. And then so I was like playing along. And, eventually it became a bit worrying because, when you start being involved in certain missions that are political, and when you have people's lives at risks and you have multiple governments involved, it's dangerous. And I basically eclipsed myself from that at some point because I thought, this is becoming too wild and too much. And I was getting a bit worried and I had anxiety around that. And you may not be aware of that, but I did at some point, and I decided to stop doing it and remove myself from this world and just focusing on helping friends and doing things like that or the corporate world to do remote viewing. And that was as good and with less risk.
Definitely less risk.
Yes, exactly. So I basically I didn't want to have my name on the payroll, and especially when my life got threatened in Egypt at some point. And I thought, when I was told that I was not allowed to fly to Egypt and that if I went there, I would have been kidnapped at the airport and never seen again. I thought, well, that's going to be changing my life forever. So I'm not going to be doing that again. And that's what happened. I decided to, take a break from the whole thing and remain anonymous, I guess, in that sense.
Do you regret going that heavily into the field?
No, I mean, because I kind of help people and some of these people became great friends and I've learned a great deal from them as well. So I don't regret it. It saved lives, like thousands of lives at some point. So I don't regret any of that. But again, it's just like, you save lives on one end and then you have other people dying on the other. So you never know what goes on behind closed doors. And I was not really privy to the details of the remote viewing specs because they like to compartmentalize all of the missions when that happens. So you're not allowed to know everything for safety reasons because of the Stargate program being shut down officially. When the remote viewing program was set up, when the Washington Post and New York Times wrote about it years ago, and that got shut down. they decided to compartmentalize the program so the remote viewers would be, kind of in their own corner and not really talking to anyone else.
Sebastian Martin is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We got 2.5 minutes before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Sebastian, everything has a political tie to it. It doesn't matter what it is, and you've been able to establish that. Are you surprised at what politicians know and don't know about what's really going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, I don't think politicians know much behind the scenes, to be honest. I think it's a very close groups, and they are agencies that are mostly like shadow governments. You have a lot of different agencies that are private corporations, mostly, with backed up by some like dark money, or some of them make their own money through different type of trades by, selling gold or selling cocaine or whatever it is. I mean, you know that the CIA was heavily involved in the drug trade, at some point. So in order to create dark budgets, that money cannot come from the Senate. It has to come from different sources. So they have to generate their own funding, and that's how it's happening all over the world. They have different organizations to make the money, and they have like Ponzi schemes, and they have different ways of making huge amount of money to create those organizations.
Mm-hmm. So does the average politician who's elected know what's even going on? Do they have a clue?
I have no idea.
It's kind of strange, don't you think?
Not really. I mean, elected officials last for so long. So what's the point of educating them on something that doesn't last very long when the program has been going on for years on end?
Well, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Is it that simple of an answer, though? Because, I mean, there are certain politicians out there who seem to last forever.
Like who?
Well, take, Ted Kennedy.
Okay. Well, yeah.
John McCain before his passing.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I mean, some of these people might, again, they were specializing in certain things, but politically speaking, they were not. They didn't have the credentials enough to learn about what's going on behind closed doors. They would have been too,
right.
Because they still have to, talk to their constituents, and a leak could have easily happened. So that's the reason why this is not shared with anybody.
Right. On that note, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. Sebastian Martin is our guest tonight. We're going to get into remote viewing, what it's like. What should we do? Can you do it? Can I do it? Can any of us do it? We'll find out next on Spaced Out Radio.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thaw, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
we're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have each and every one of you with us tonight. Hey, I want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel because all of our archives are free there. Ring that little bell thing, too. I don't know what that is because I'm not really a YouTube guy, but apparently there's a bell there. You got to hit that to let you know when new shows pop up. All right. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show, and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. We're talking with Sebastian Martin tonight. We're going to get deep into remote viewing right now as we bring Sebastian back. Sebastian, you have done so much remote viewing, both for private companies, for yourself, for individuals who have had ET contact. You've run the gamut with it. For people who may not understand what it is, what's your definition of it?
Well, I mean, the official definition of controlled remote viewing is something that was obviously created by, I believe, the Monroe Institute and the I think the Stanford University. So they created this program that allowed psychics to enhance their visions through drawings and coordinates, so they could just picture an actual scene that was very blurry. And according to the Stargate program that was used for different types of missions with the CIA, for example, they had some successes and some that were kind of non-existent or didn't really go anywhere. So it was not reliable or deemed reliable, but I guess the ones that were fairly successful and were fairly outstanding. So at the same time, what I'm experiencing, and again, when I first started experiencing remote viewing, it's something that I started developing when I practiced meditation, transcendental meditation, and my mother introduced me to it when I was about 8 years old. And from a very young age, I started meditating. And then by the time I arrived to the age of 16, that's when I decided to come out of my body to impress a girl in my dorm. Basically, I was in a boarding school, and the girls' dorm was opposite the football field, and I was able to travel through that field in my mind's eye in order to analyze some of the objects she placed on a night table at night as an experiment. And that was something that I've asked her to do, which was interesting because I felt very confident knowing how to do it without even practicing it beforehand. It's something that just came naturally, and I don't know why. And it just unfolded that way. I just experimented with it, and it just took me basically like less than 5 minutes to come out of my body, I guess, or at least travel through this, what I would call like a fiber optic scenario, where I was able to travel through this fiber optic and then have this very clear vision of this space that I was supposed to be looking at. So that's how I would call remote viewing, how I experienced it the first time around. Nowadays, I don't have that feeling, because what happened this time kind of scared me, because when I tried it, I saw the objects come back into my body, and I was out of breath, I was sweating profusely, and I was rigid, like I could not move. And that really scared me, because I was not in control of my body at that time, and I was wondering what was going on. And I promised myself to never do that again. So I think this was my first experience with remote viewing, which was like a genuine experience that was voluntary. And down the line, I started having some very clear visions of events. And those visions were to do with the past. I also had visions of the future. Like I think you remember from my past interviews with you that I saw the birth of my daughter and my son. I even told my wife she was pregnant with our son at the time. So I was always involved in those kind of things with visions, but to extrapolate the idea to go to remote viewing was more of a training exercise past the experience I had with Zoe back in 2011. And that's something that came naturally. I did the hypnosis sessions, and somewhat it kind of enhanced my ability to focus on certain events. And I was able to see those situations very clearly, very quickly while cooking my breakfast. I didn't have to do meditation, concentrate on anything. It just came naturally. And I don't know exactly why and how. It just happens. So nowadays, when I'm asked to remote view an actual sensitive situation, if I'm asked like specific information about an event or people involved in the group, I can just like see the people, I can describe them, and then it very quickly, because I get excited by it, I can connect those people with more people, and I can even describe their emotions. So I did that for friends and corporations and these sort of things. There might be like another Dave on the line that maybe listening to this interview. He's got a marijuana company, medical marijuana, and one of his partners went to Macedonia to do a deal, or he was trying to get his money back from this investment group that designed this facility in Macedonia. And while I was with Dave, we saw each other for like a cigar and a scotch. And while he was talking to me, I saw his partner being shot in the chest. And Dave then said to me, well, he's in Macedonia and he's about to meet those people. And it was about 45 minutes away before he was killed. And I saved his life that day, and he was able to escape. But it was a very close call, because they just realized that the people involved were part of the Macedonian mafia, and they didn't know it. And they were extortionists, so they were extorting money from them, hoping that they would just like plug in more equipment and more money towards this facility, and it never happened. And now they could never go back to the country.
Oh, that makes for a bad time. Totally makes for a bad time.
So what happened was when Dave contacted his partner, he was in his hotel bedroom. He just arrived. He's supposed to be picked up by his lawyer. And when I saw the event of him being shot in the chest, I saw the lawyer and described him. And so Dave confirmed all of these details with me. And I saw a red car as well, which actually belonged to his girlfriend, and he was supposed to be picking him up in his car. And when I described his blue shirt as well, Dave contacted him in Macedonia live, and I was with him on the phone as well. And then he took a picture of the shirt he was about to wear for the meeting, which was the blue shirt I saw him being shot in. So he freaked out, and he was like shaking it like a leaf. And it was so, live that he got really shaken up by it, because he did not believe in any of this. But that event certainly made him believe. Yeah, he did. And so the day before he was able to leave the country, because he didn't tell his lawyer where he was. The lawyer was obviously corrupt and paid by the mafia people as well. And when he was about to leave the country, he was in his hotel lobby. And the guy where she shot him in the chest was in the lobby taking a picture of him. And that was intercepted by the Bosnian secret services, where he was in touch with at the time in Macedonia. And they kind of helped him go through this period for a few days before he could, exit the country and go back to Europe.
That is just way too close for comfort.
Yeah,
way too close for comfort.
It was. But, I asked, why I saw this event instead of another. I have no idea. It was timely. I had to do this, and it just came. And I had zero control over it. I just was seeing this vision, and it was so clear that I saw so many details in one single vision that I was able to share that. But on the different types of missions, when I started having visions of people, I used to know their names, and I used to know exactly who they were. And I have contacted people on the internet, for people, for example, who contacted me on Facebook because they were spying on me to find out exactly what I was talking about and what I was going to be saying. And I've contacted those people telling them that they were working for the government, or they had some very sensitive jobs, and they obviously dismissed me at first. And eventually I then ended up working with them and saving their lives as well. So that's how it unfolded for me. I got involved with these people's lives because it felt that I had to do it, and it came naturally. And if I had to save one person's life and sacrifice another, because obviously when people get found out, they obviously take actions. They just don't let it lie. And especially if they are agents in the field from the Five Eye organization, which involves different countries like Canada, the US, New Zealand, Australia, and what did I miss? England. And then France is also part of it, but they don't have an actual official role in that, but they kind of liaise and share the top secret files with them as well. So when you have all of these organizations working with one another, you start to meet a very interesting group of people who are close allies, but at the same time they like to keep their own affairs for themselves for certain missions, I guess. So it's again timely. It's a very close group of people, and they all know each other. So I guess my name got circulated around, and I got involved in more and more missions, and that's how I learned more stuff along the line. I discovered that there was an agenda, that the news was fake news most of the time, that was mostly designed to deceive the people in the real events for what's going on behind closed doors. So pretty much most of the stuff that you've been reading lately or even seeing on the news, it's just not exactly what's going on behind closed doors. There are definitely deeper agendas.
All right. Sebastian Martin is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Sebastian, when you get into remote viewing, how do you set up the process? Do you go into meditation? Do you...
No,
you just...
like I said to you, I could just be, all I need is in a very specific, well, actually, maybe not. I mean, most of the time when I deal with the people I know and know very well, and if I'm asked a very specific, or about a specific event, I can remote view something that will bring up more details about the people, and if people are trustworthy. And I've been tested many times with that. So it's if you ask me, for example, what am I wearing today? This is something that I don't do and I never tried because I find that very boring, and so my interest level just goes way down. But if it's something that incites me to be involved and to be excited about it, then it works way better. And that's how these kind of things unfolded. If I lose interest in a topic, it's not going to be successful and it's going to be like a flop. But the majority of the time that I've been involved in that, it's been pretty successful.
Some of the things that you have remote viewed, okay, let's talk businesses here for a second, because this is something that you have worked closely with a lot of different companies and corporations and everything like that. Why would remote viewing be a useful tool for a company out there?
Well, for example, there are some companies who are dealing with very sensitive countries like Africa, where there are some people who could be very dodgy. Deals could just disappear or not be genuine. That could become, or it could result in wasted time and money as well, and efforts into certain transactions. People could be getting scammed. This is the main reason why I got involved in those kind of details. It's not that exciting, but at the same time, it could involve, billions of dollars worth of money, and, transactions that are, involving many other countries.
So what is that like when a company comes to you and says, "Hey, we want you to check out our investment in Nigeria or the Sudan or someplace like that, or even somewhere remote in South America where it might be closer to a third world country." What are you looking for?
Well, usually it just comes randomly. Like, so I'm having this deal in this country. What do you see? It's as simple as that. And because of my connection with that person, I would just be able to, see details. Because somewhat, it just comes, and I was able to describe certain events involving like a gold trade deal, and I just warned the people, saying, those people are not reliable enough. You should not be dealing with them. The deal will collapse. You should be dealing with that group instead from Germany or whatever. It's just it's always moving. Like, there are always moving parts because there are multiple offers usually on the table, and so they kind of consult with me for those kind of things. So to find out what best scenarios will work out, and it's just it works better that way. And sometimes they will go with the less attractive deal because it's more viable. And the ones that look like flashy and all good end up to be flops and never happens.
So what kind of businesses would these be? I know you can't be specific to the corporations who have hired you, but I'm thinking, if I'm looking at this, oil companies, diamond companies, big name companies like that.
Yeah, it usually involves like princes and kings. So I mean, and I won't go into details with that, but yeah, it's pretty high level.
Yeah. So for a lot of people, they may find it hard to fathom that this is actually going on, that companies would hire somebody with remote viewing, because in the end, most people consider it to be very dicey type of information, or a way of getting information. What makes it so strong?
Well, I mean, like when you think about the Middle East, for example, the people over there, like when the crisis and the coronavirus happened, when you just first started, the first thing they talked about was the New World Order. It was on everybody's lips over there right away. Like, they already knew this was the agenda. So they are definitely more into the conspiracy theories. In those countries, they have what's called the jinn. So they do believe in karma as well, and the black eye, or whatever, like dark eyes, whatever it's called. They believe in that. So I guess they are very superstitious, and they pay attention to these kind of details. It's very important to them.
Right. So when you are looking into a situation, what are you looking for? The climate, the violence around the area, the political standard. What are you looking for?
No, I don't even get involved in the politics of things. I just basically zoom directly onto the people involved in the deals, and within those countries. And I usually find out those countries myself. I'm not even told which countries are involved. I mean, there was a deal where there was an Indian accountant who was a silent partner with a British woman involved. There was some Saudi Arabian people as well involved in the same group for one transaction. And it was all happening in Dubai, and all of that just was. It's very random, but it's all connected. So I can link those people in one session, usually within the first few minutes.
How do you learn to trust the information, though?
I just do. It seems right. And, if you second guess yourself, that's when it goes sideways. So what I've learned is I just let the information flow. And by focusing on what comes, I'm able to visualize the information and elaborate on it. Because somehow it's like a piece of a puzzle, and I can just connect those pieces together. It just it could look like random, but it's just like one piece falls after the other, and that's how it happens for me. And when I get more involved and I spend more time on it, that's when I can connect to the actual emotions of the people. I can basically just be visualizing those people and seeing the interactions and also the agenda. So there's a lot going on.
So when you say agenda, because you've used that a couple of times, what do you mean by agenda? What are you looking for? What's setting this apart from others?
Well, I mean, everybody has an agenda. I mean, they have different thought systems. Like if they say, we want to be doing this deal with you, but in the back of their minds, they just work secretly with another group for finalizing this deal. So by me looking into that, I can detect that they are working on a different front. So that's what I would call a different agenda. It's not like a dark agenda for government conspiracy theory. It's just like a basic agenda like most people have. They always find just like an escape route for a deal if it doesn't plan out the way they want it. And also when it involves money, they like to play different people. So it plays on emotions. Like when you buy a house or you look for a house to buy, the real estate agent will tell you, oh, there are some other people looking for this house and they're very interested. So make an offer now, otherwise it might disappear. It's the same thing. It's just sales.
Okay. So as we got about a minute here to go before the break, is this something that has always kind of come naturally to you, or did you have to learn it?
No, I never learned it. I guess I perfected it, but no, I never learned it. It's something that just comes naturally. I know that some remote viewers or control remote viewers have done it for basic situations, like what's the symbol, or I've got like an image here that's like the Peace Arch or whatever it is, like the Eiffel Tower, like a monument, and they just have to remote view that. I would find that extremely boring and usually probably would not be very successful with that. But when it concerns like a live situation, this is my forte. That's what I excel at, or something that connects an event from like the past or the future, and I can link all of these events together. Sometimes many years could elapse, and I would be able to connect the dots.
All right, my friend, you hold on right there because we're going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Sebastian Martin comes in. We're talking remote viewing. We're getting into some aliens. We'll get into UFOs, a little bit of conspiracy about that. And, just for a little bit of garnish, we'll get into how remote viewing works with ET Contact. More on Spaced Out Radio in Hour 2 coming up next.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is watching.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hey everyone, I'm John Edwards.
And I'm Stacey Edwards. Together, we're taking over Saturday nights on Spaced Out Radio, where we're going to bring our own experiences of the paranormal and talk to the best people we can find to help bring you answers to your strange tales.
We're here to entertain your need for weekend woo! So tune us in at spacedoutradio.com starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, where we can all get a little spooky together.
Spaced Out Saturday nights right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Second hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for tuning us in and letting us be your nighttime entertainment. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and on the digital side on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, Estiferous. Estiferous is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show, and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. We continue talking remote viewing tonight with Sebastian Martin. He is an ET contactee. He has had multiple contact experiences. He is remote viewed both professionally for companies and for private companies as well. Sebastian, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Well, thanks for having me, Dave, again.
Not a problem. Yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, I don't know. This is usually where I ask a question, but if you have something to say, you're more than welcome to do so.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, and then I'll start. How are you, Sebastian? Are you doing okay tonight? No, I'm teasing. All right, let's get right to it. Yeah, I mean, you have had multiple ET contactee experiences since November of 2011. What do you think the extraterrestrials want with you?
Well, with me, I believe, like I said to you before, that some of us are major avatars for these ET beings, and they are learning from us. So I do believe that from what I've seen so far is that we do live within a program. I kind of share that thought with many other people, and I think the quantum physics worlds, that it's all mathematical and calculated, and the synchronicities that we can see sometimes happening, it's not all random. In fact, the experiences that we have on Earth are most likely just an expression of already what's happening in the universe. So it's interesting when you think that, let's say, you have an avatar in a different galaxy, or even within this, in our cosmos, you may think that what you do on Earth is part of your life and is random, that you learn day by day what's going on. But I certainly believe, and I think I may have shared that in the past, that we know that we are born and we know we die. So these are like presets. And then whatever happens in between, people say, well, how about the free will then? Well, if it's all calculated, what do we have if we have no choice per se? I said, well, no, we have choice. The choice is what happens between the major milestones in our lives. And so certain milestones are already preset as well. And then whatever we do in between is just part of the learning experience. And that's okay. That makes us kind of free, but we're never really free, because we agreed to volunteer for these kind of missions on this planet. So as a soul being, we might be sentient beings. Our souls cannot be destroyed or swallowed up, even if it can be, but that's a bit more complex, and I won't go there tonight. But if we volunteer to help certain races of aliens out there, it's only for their benefit. But the reason why we don't remember who we are as soul beings is because they create this level of amnesia in our bodies, in our brains, so we don't interrupt their program. So,
okay.
And since I had this contact with Zoe, we basically broke that program, and he actually broke the rules by coming over and see me and making me remember. So that's how it all started, to be honest. And by breaking that rule, it kind of allowed me to expand on that and understanding exactly that those beings are no different than us in that sense, that they still have the same, they still have agendas, like talking about their agendas again. They definitely have, a certain idea as to what they want to achieve with us. It's not negative, it's just learning. There's no like negative or positive. It's just to enrich them in their own life experiences that will potentially help them in what's going on in the cosmos with other races. So when you talk about the Galactic Alliance, and when Zoe showed up to me, and when he introduced himself as being part of that, I thought, well, that's interesting. And I actually remote viewed the Galactic Alliance and to see what kind of beings there would be part of that. And even tracing it back to the Draco race, which was part of that at the beginning, and then they were excluded from that because they just simply were too possessive, I guess, and they want to retake the possession of the world, of our world. And so the Galactic Alliance said, no, you can't do that. We have our own beings over there, and we can't allow you to take over. And so that's how there was a war going on between certain races of aliens and the Dracos that occurred and might still be occurring. But at some point, the alliance was necessary to be created. So there would be different races that would be working with one another through alliances, through marriages, even whatever you can consider to be a marriage. But it's how they created this alliance with the human experience. So many different ET races are on the planet, and they all each have a different role to play within that. But it's only an expression of what's going on in the cosmos.
All right. So how many ET species have you had the pleasure or displeasure of having to deal with throughout your communication?
Oh my God. I don't know. A lot, I guess. I would say more than 30.
More than 30.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's a hard number for a lot of people to fathom, Sebastian.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, they are not just it's not just the boring Dracos, Nordics, and Anunnaki and Greys. I mean, there are so many different types of Greys as well. I mean, when you start including, basically multidimensional beings, when you have, I mean, there are so many. And, you have like AI beings as well. So, what you have to realize is most of them, the ones interacting with us, are pretty much us in the future. And it might be hard to conceive, but when you think about the Pleiades, okay, let's just focus on those beings, the Pleiadians. The Pleiadians are, beings that many people have experienced or had experiences with. And the Pleiadians, if you look at the Pleiades today in the cosmos, that star cluster cannot harbor life as it is. It's too young of a star cluster to harbor life. So what does it mean? Well, it means that at some point in time, which is, again, we are the crossing road of that right now, is that human beings will make a choice in either embracing AI or not. And embracing AI is not all negative, by the way. It's like looking at the internet. You can just be spending your day looking at porn, or you can just look at the internet to learn about new technologies and about educating yourself. So it's very different. AI has the same potential, and it can be used for very positive aspect of our lives as human beings moving forward and to survive in this universe, to be honest. So those beings in the future have already embraced AI, most of them. And even if you had like people like Corey Good and David Wilcock, going on different, publicly traded channels, as we know, we talked about those things as being very negative. It's not all negative. It's just the way how the information has been used. And so technology can be used as long as it's used smartly and efficiently, so we can progress. And that's exactly what those beings have done. They mastered AI so they could potentially protect themselves against other technological beings that are fully AI. And they have the same thing as we have on Earth with our computers, with viruses and antiviruses. So it works the same way. They just know how to counteract the attacks and how to obviously protect themselves against those and how to use it. And some of these actions can be also used to even splice the soul as we know it, to insert it into human beings. So try to wrap your head around that. But
I can't. I can't.
But it's basically how most of the beings that people have experiences with on Earth are basically either us from the future or completely AI beings that have been robotized or basically just changed to be completely non-human with like human artificial intelligence that they have downloaded so they can interact with us on Earth. But they are mostly robots and tools more than anything else.
Okay, so these beings who are allegedly coming from the future, where are they coming from?
Well, like the Pleiades, think about the star cluster. That star cluster will be able to harbor life in the future. I'm talking about maybe hundreds of thousands of years from now. So time in space means nothing. When you have a lot of space astronauts who basically go back to Earth, like the way we'll be going and see some sites on the planet, they will be going back into the past to find out where they came from, because they're curious, and they will be, space tourists. So some of them can be doing that, and some will have a much different agenda that they want to follow up on the kind of beings they've already put on Earth and how to download the information, providing like upgrades. So talking about implants, a lot of these implants do exist. A lot of people know about them, as you know. Those implants are used for a certain purpose. They are there to counteract the actions of AI, the competition, let's say, or the enemy, whatever you want to call it. Also to just make us more prepared for more information. So getting an upgrade with an implant, is not always negative.
All right. So these future us who are apparently coming in here and hanging out and checking us out, what do they want here? Why would they feel the necessity to come way back in time?
Well, as you can imagine, as we are becoming more and more disconnected from our own human emotions today with the internet and what's going on in the world, you can imagine just with what happened with the coronavirus, people are becoming like crazy. Things are happening today that would have never been able to even conceive, 6 months from now, or 6 months ago, or even 3 months ago. So, things are changing rapidly, and we're adapting to a total new situation. Like, our kids today are faced with so much more scrutiny about, school systems, and, they're becoming more aware, but they are growing up with that. You have to realize that for us, we are adults. We are seeing it, knowing our kind of past. For those kids, they are being raised with that. So they're definitely more susceptible to embrace this change way more than we are. So I think what's coming up now is, like I said, I keep saying that it's a turning point in the human race. We're going to be seeing major changes that will impact humanity at great length. People are also going to be subjected to higher dimensions. We are going to be basically moving up to the next level, let's say. We are going to be, introduced to new technologies, and people are going to be so dumbfounded by what's coming up that most of them will say yes, 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 because they live in fear. And the fear system is designed to allow those technologies to be implemented peacefully, without the riots, without all the stuff that's going on, because that's the plan. That's the goal for certain agendas. You have to realize that the New World Order and the secret societies are dealing with very dark beings or demonic beings. Some of them could be considered as gods to them. Therefore, they are, and some of them, most of them are alien beings. So some of them are Draco beings. So it's not just all Draco, by the way, but it's some of them are. And so that's part of the takeover of the planet. And us, for those who are not affiliated with those groups, who are basically vulnerable to these new technologies, we have to protect ourselves. So the beings who are in the cosmos, who are basically looking over us, already are waking us up to these new challenges, and more people are becoming more aware. And that's how we are going to be seeing a divergence in learning through the educational system, for example. We're going to be seeing that people are going to be moving away from that, thinking, you know what, this is all bullshit. Well, we might as well try to leave that system to create our own. Well, we're going to be looking at new governments being installed. It happened in the past. Like when you look at the history of Canada, when Lou Riel, tried to embrace as a Métis, he was trying to ask the First Nations to create their own government within the provinces of Canada. Well, he got hanged because they believed that this was not right to do. So, but the idea of creating and setting up new governments for those who believe that the ones we are living in no longer work may be something that will be coming up in the future as part of the New World Order. So it's not all negative. And I see that as a new form of lifestyle, I guess, because we're going to be subjected to so many different things. We're going to be bombarded with, sanctions and fear-based systems, like, with what's happening with the military and the change in the constitution and how they can take over your land, with the Emergency Act in Canada and all of that. There are so many things that will happen in the second wave of the coronavirus that we haven't even seen what really is planned out for us.
Right.
So some people will be deciding to follow the orders and become like pure sheeple, accept the vaccines, accept the implants, and some who won't. And we're going to be seeing those dividing camps, becoming very much real in the near future.
All right. Sebastian Martin is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We have about 4 minutes left here before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Sebastian, the extraterrestrial species that you have had contact from way out there beyond the stars, where are they coming from?
Oh, my God.
What do they want with us?
There are so many different types of alien beings, coming out. I mean, there are some from like Alpha Centauri, the Orion Belt. I mean, it's just, the Pleiades. I mean, there are so many things. And again, it's not in space. Time means nothing. So, whoever comes may be coming from different star systems, higher dimensions. It might even be coming from a different planet. It could be coming from the Earth. There are so many beings already here that we are interacting with all the time. But some of them we may not consider to be aliens, but they are. And, those beings were even there long before we were here. So Yeah, it's scattered all over the galaxies. I mean, there are so many. It's teeming with life out there, everywhere.
Okay, I get that, and I can understand that, and that is just, teeming with life is a very, very broad answer. I mean, are these alien beings at all that you have been in contact with currently residing in our own solar system on planets, whether it's Mars or Neptune or Jupiter?
No, some of them are in total different star systems or even galaxies or universes. There are multiple universes, the same way as we have, probably, I don't know how many dimensions that the quantum computers have detected on Earth. But there were like more than 4. I mean, we're looking at probably like 12 or 14 different dimensions on the planet. There could be even more than that. But it's hard to fathom when our own consciousness is so limited, when we're so closed up and limited with our human brains. We need to expand our consciousness in order to even understand that. And most of us will not be able to even cope with this without training or without years of being subjected to these beings and realities that do exist.
So what are those realities?
Well, I mean, I'm talking about potential realities, like, for example, simple things such as the kind of conversation we have today. This conversation could happen on a different dimension with slight changes. It might be very subtle, but it could make the difference between, having a successful interview or not. I mean, it could be day and night. I mean, it could be very different, or it could just be very subtle. And it's part of the different scenarios that are being played out by those beings as well, because there are some of them are like the 5th dimensional beings can understand other dimensions on the planet, and so they play out scenarios that we may not be aware of because we're only aware of, like, let's say, one experience at a time. Some of us can see multiple experiences at a time, and that's still already disturbing when you even face that, because it's so difficult to grasp, to know why this is happening. I'm aware of this, but I'm also aware of that one. So what does it mean? And if you look at it as a computer training, like a computer program, different scenarios being played out at the same time simultaneously with our current life experiences, it's not such a crazy thing to imagine.
Well, there we go. And on that note, we're going to head to break here at the bottom of the hour. Sebastian Martin is our guest tonight. We're getting into more alien talk coming up on Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month, and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us, especially Human Carl in the chat room on YouTube, because you never want to get Human Carl mixed up with the alien Carl. So that's why we have to call him Human Carl. We love him around here. Anyways, want to remind all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you could check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, has a plethora of features for you, including reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and rocking out to Bumblefoot and so much more. Follow us on Twitter, @Spaced Out Radio for the show, and my personal handle, @Dave Scott SOR. We bring in Sebastian Martin tonight. We're talking ET contact. We're talking remote viewing. We're talking everything that's going to get that woo meter moving all the way to the left or right, depending on how you're holding it. Anyways, Sebastian, welcome back.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks for having me again.
You are well. All right. We got some audience questions here for you, my friend.
Okay.
All right. Let's get to them. And let's start off with Nuck. He's a Canucks fan.
Okay.
When you go out of body, can a demon or ghost enter your body while you're gone?
Yes, that's a potential risk that you take when you come out of your body. But again, you can, through learning experiences. And I came out of my body when I was like 14, very vividly. And I was actually subjected to those kind of dark entities and beings that could potentially sever the cord, the silver cord that attached your body with your soul, and that you could be lost forever and turn mad or whatever. So that has happened in the past, and it could happen to people who are not careful. When you start becoming enlightened or a bit more educated on the topic, you start realizing that you become a beacon of light for those beings, and it doesn't really matter what beings they are. You still attract their presence because you reach a higher level than the regular human beings. And so it's like going back to kindergarten. You know, you have to realize that you may have a PhD on Earth, but when it concerns the consciousness, you don't know anything, and you just have to learn everything step by step. So sometimes people learn by making mistakes as well, like I did. You know, I've made tons of mistakes, and I was able to survive it and learn from it and protect myself. But sometimes when, again, you become more enlightened, you don't learn those things. They become like downloads, and you just know how. It becomes like second nature. And while you, for example, come out of your body, you may automatically block certain accesses to your soul or your being, so there is no interaction. What's interesting to know is when you do such experiences is when you smoke cigars or cigarettes, and I'm not, again, trying to ask anybody to do that, but when you do that, certain beings absolutely abhor the idea of cigarette smoke or cigar smoke, so they don't come near you when that happens. And when you can achieve that state of consciousness 24/7, that gives you a certain relief that prevents those beings to reach out to you and trying to interact with you. I was highly surprised that when I was not even prepared for interactions, that I saw dark beings, like zombie-like beings on the side of the road, the way I would see anybody else on the street, and that took me by surprise. You know, I saw such beings in Duncan when I went to see a friend of mine, and those beings don't look like human at all. They have white face, you know, black eyes, skeleton hands, no feet, and yeah, they look physical to the full extent of things, and you just can't prepare yourself enough that there's always something that surprises you. When I did some remote viewing experiences, at some point there was a Draco reptilian who saw me doing a remote viewing session, and I was not anticipating that being to be there, but yet he was there, and so that had some physical effect on me as well. when I had like nosebleeds and headaches the same night. And I was fighting a constant attack from that being for 4 hours after that. And so you have to protect yourself, and it's by, again, it's through learning experiences. That's what I could say about it.
All right, let's move on to another question. Michael is asking, are there any remote viewing courses a person could take on Vancouver Island?
Yes. In fact, Paul Elder, a friend of mine, organizes those training sessions in Parksville, Nanu's Bay, actually, which is above Nanaimo. And he is an extension of the Monroe Institute in Virginia. So he does provide those sessions in Vancouver as well. So he provides workshops on weekends and 5-day workshops as well throughout the year on Vancouver Island.
That's my old stomping grounds, you know.
Oh, really?
Parksville, Qualicum Beach. Yeah. The Noose Bay. Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
That's where old Davey started his radio career.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
Oh, yeah. I kind of enjoy it.
And if I may add, Paul Elder has a great facility. He's got a few acres of land. It's a much better setting than the Monroe Institute in Virginia. You've got private rooms to go in. You can do the binaural frequencies there, and you always like interact with great people. And it's also cheaper with the exchange rate. And the courses are very well done, and from a very trained person who used to be participating in the Stargate program.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to Big J, who is asking, what's your opinion on Billy Meyer?
Well, that's to do with the Pleiadians, I guess, or Pleiadians. Yeah, Billy Myers, is an interesting person. I know that some people are always going to see him in Europe. I think he's in Switzerland. Is that correct? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about the guy enough. I never met him personally, so I could not tell you. I think it's kind of a cult-like situation, in my opinion, where you have people following him, and they would tell you, only Billy Meyer has met the Pleiadian, and no one else can. That's the kind of thing that they would tell you, which is interesting. So I don't know. I think it's a cultish-like system that may have been real in terms of the contact. The pictures that I believe he took from those Pleiadian women, Sajay or Sajan, I can't remember the name of them. It may have been real, but I don't know. It's hard to say. I couldn't tell you. If you want me to remote view him, I could say that yes, he had some experiences, but in terms of taking pictures, I don't believe that. That's my take on it.
Let's go to Lie, who is asking, Sebastian, what do you do to protect yourself?
That's very interesting. So when I first started having visions, and when I first met my future wife, she said, I don't want you to have those kind of visions around me. I would be afraid of those and all of these things. I've kind of created a Faraday cage around myself for 10 years. So it was very persistent. And that cage kind of disappeared when my wife became pregnant with our daughter. And then all of my visions came back in full force. And that was kind of a big surprise to me, because I just realized that I let my guard down when I became a father. And so now I know better, obviously. I just know different techniques how to protect myself. But it's just by being aware of what's out there that you automatically know how to protect yourself. It's not an actual, technique that you can learn from a book. Even if, I'm sure there are lots of books out there that can teach you many things on protections and, using, Wicca or whatever it is. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even read enough, or I don't read books like that to protect myself, because I just do it naturally. I'm just aware, and by being aware, that's the protection, all the protection you need, because you can see what's coming.
But you have been attacked before.
Yes, I have. That's how I've learned. So my Kundalini awakening started in 2011 with my contact, and that allowed me to visualize how my energy level will work. So if my Kundalini energy would go counterclockwise, I knew that something was going off. But then at the same time, I also been attacked through different means with AI. There's so many things. But when I was attacked with AI, for example, and psychic attacks at the same time, then your Kundalini energy will still go clockwise, but very, very slowly. And that's when it becomes very, very difficult. And in my case, I believe that I had allies to help me through it. But there is possibility that your physical body may die through the process. As long as you can get revived, which could happen, then you're okay. So it's hard to understand, but and sounds very crazy. But these are the kind of things I've experienced on multiple levels. And if you don't live in fear, you are very well protected, because it's the fear that pretty much kills you. It happens on Earth with stress and cancer and all of that. So if you basically embrace the experience and rely on the help that's out there, along with your own experiences to protect yourself as a sovereign being, then you'll be fully prepared for what comes.
All right, let's move on to Starseed's question. And she is asking, what is a good way to increase your abilities to be more psychic and have more contact with other entities?
Well, the first thing I would say to most people would be to be open, without a critical mind, because if you start letting your critical mind take over, then you are doomed to fail. You just have to let it flow, let it happen. And you also have to realize that in that process, you may be subjecting yourself to anything. So you have to be cautious, but at the same time open. So it's a very fine balance to open yourself to entities, because, like I said before, when you start learning about these things, you open yourself up to anything. Therefore, you go back to kindergarten, and like a newborn baby, you just... you are so innocent. Anything could happen to you, but you just trust that things will go well. So if you still apply some caution in those steps, then you'll be more prepared in embracing the ET contacts. In all honesty, as human beings, if we had to be wiped out overnight, it could happen anyway. But there are some beings out there that are monitoring everything, and so those beings can, negative ones too, can be subjected to criticisms or sanctions as much as we are on Earth. So you are somehow protected, but if you allow those beings to interact with you freely without caution, then you could be facing issues.
Interesting. Okay. Janet is saying, but Sebastian, haven't we all been leaving our bodies during sleep for many years?
Yes, very much so. Pretty much everybody who, have flying dreams or who can remember those things. It happened to me last night. I always have flying dreams all the time. It's the greatest thing on earth. In fact, I was speaking to a very dear friend of mine last night, and as I was just waking up, I just woke up naturally, and then got on my phone, and she was on the other line, and she's actually listening to us right now. And I had this amazing flying dream, and that felt so real that I felt that I could do it as a human being today. Like it felt so vivid that.
Oh, where'd you go?
Bodies.
You're back. There you are. You cut out for a couple seconds there.
Oh, okay. So when we leave our bodies every night, sometimes it could just be like a fraction, like above our physical bodies. So we could just rejuvenate ourselves, and our cells can do their thing without the interaction with our soul. That's pretty much why it happens every night, and that happens all the time. But
all right, back.
For those who are, hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so for those who are comfortable enough to experience flying dreams and out-of-body experiences, to travel through the universe and seeing, interacting with other beings, then good for them, because I've been doing that since I was a child, and it's the most exhilarating experience you can have. So, and when you can remember it, it's even better. But most of us don't.
All right, moving on here. Back to Starseed. She is asking, does what you eat affect your ability to astral project?
I would say no. Some people will say yes. But personally, I believe that ideally, yes. I think if you eat better, like I would say, if you have like GMO foods and with neuron disruptors and all of that, sure, that you definitely have a direct impact on that. Your DNA will get affected, your soul will get affected. But at the same time, I've met many people who were dying of cancer, and we had training sessions with Joe Dispenza, for example, which you know of, and they basically healed themselves through his methods. So, the physical body doesn't have to be sick to experience something extraordinary. In fact, when you are in that case, in that the most vulnerable state, when your physical body is so severely affected that your soul can experience more and you become more connected. So it can happen either way. So I don't believe it's critical to a learning experience to be very, very healthy and super healthy. It helps, but it's not critical.
Sebastian Martin is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Sebastian, question coming from Davey, who says, I have a friend with me now who doesn't believe in the paranormal. Is there anything you can say to help convince him, or is he a lost cause until his own experience?
Nobody is a lost cause. I think what you have to realize is everybody has or live on different timeline, and therefore, if we are deemed to be experiencing those experiences today, then that's our timeline. Certain people who are born on Earth have their own karma to follow. There's nothing you can do to change it. You can potentially impact it, but it doesn't mean that it's your role to change that. That's their own journey. And there's nothing you can do to change that. Your presence definitely helps. Sharing your experiences may have a direct impact eventually, but it doesn't mean that your role is to teach them or tell them that they should learn better, because that's not your job to do that.
All right. That makes sense. Makes total sense. And let's see where we're going from here as we continue on with our night on Spaced Out Radio. All right. Lisa is asking, what method do people cure themselves, whether it's cancer or other diseases?
Well, there are so many different methods. Diet is one thing, like starving the bad cells by just like having a different type of diet, like a sugar-free diet, for example, is helpful. And then there's meditation. There's the Joe Dispenza methods, when he was able to help people, and I've known people, very reliable people, doctors, even lawyers who were dying of cancer, were on the death door. Basically, they had like a few weeks to live, and they were given like a bed to die in the hospital and have their families coming over to say goodbye. And those people just refused and said, no, I'm not willing to accept that. And they came back home and followed different methods, like the Joe Dispenza method. And they heal themselves that way through meditation, intensive meditation. And that's just by, simply coming out of your body and looking at cancer as visualizing. Again, visualizing is very important. I visualize when I remote view. I visualize all the time, because it's important to see, like to put things into perspective. And when you visualize cancer and can have a direct impact on it by taking a step back and looking down at it, thinking this is what's sick, and that's what needs to be fixed, your mind can have a direct impact on that. Your mind is it's so powerful. And I think that's one of the aspects that could help you with that. And again, I'm not a doctor, and I can't tell people that that's the only method. And different wills. People have different will powers to deal with such diseases, and some give up. Most people are so subjected to negativity and fear all their lives that, and you have to realize that most of these people have been subjected to these diseases and cancer cells because they've been stressed, and it's very hard for them to change their way of thinking. So it takes discipline and a radical change in the way of thinking to achieve such change in their lives.
All right, let's move on. We got about 2 minutes here. I want to see if we can sneak one more in. Gary is wondering, what's your thoughts of people like Corey Goode in this field?
Well, I think there's enough out there. I mean, the action speaks by themselves. Like with the way he's suing the same people that helped him at the beginning. The guy claims himself to be like a contactee and direct. I don't know. I mean, to me, I think, and I always say that the guy was lying right from the get-go. He stole most of the information from other people. He may have had some experiences of his own, but he just saw like a very lucrative way of making money. And now it's backfiring on him, and he's basically suing, like I said, all the people that helped him. Trademarking all the stuff about the SSP and all the stuff that he's been involved in with Gaia TV, just because he was afraid of the competition. And any psychologist will tell you that he's got like a narcissistic personality, and it's not a good thing. He has tons of followers out there, and that's their choice. Again, it's not my role to say that they should deviate from that choice. That's their life experiences, and that's the way it goes.
All right. Good place to end it. Good place to end it, my friend. And we have you for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. We know we have a lot more audience questions coming up from our chat room. So if you're new to the show and you want to figure out, hey, how do I get a question to one of Old Davey's guests here, what you got to do is you got to go into one of our chat rooms, either on YouTube or Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at #Spaced Out Radio, or join our Space Travelers Club for $5 a month, whatever it may be. That's what you got to do. So let's get to it. Get your questions in. Half an hour left with Sebastian Martin. Then we get to the SOR News Wire and the Thought of the Dave. Hour 3 coming up next on the mighty SOR.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month, and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines Report on the Spaced Out Radio website, and let's figure out what's going on together.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night, where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
Hey everyone, I'm John Edwards.
And I'm Stacey Edwards. Together we're taking over Saturday nights on Spaced Out Radio, where we're going to bring our own experiences of the paranormal and talk to the best people we can find to help bring you answers to your strange tales.
We're here to entertain your need for weekend woo! So tune us in at spacedoutradio.com starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, where we can all get a little spooky together.
Spaced Out Saturday nights right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. I appreciate you all tuning on in. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and on the digital side on Revolution Radio and TalkStream Live. Remember, all of our archives are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Estiferous. Estiferous is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, as well as much, much more. Hey, if you aren't following us on Twitter yet, please do so at Spaced Out Radio for the show, and my personal handle at Dave Scott, SOR. For the final time tonight, we introduce our good friend, Sebastian Martin. He's a remote viewer. He's an ET contactee, and we're taking your questions right now on this fantastic subject that we call... What do we call this, Sebastian? I don't even know. Let's just call it remote viewing, talking aliens, and just a bunch of weird woo. How about that? Does that work for you?
That works
perfect. Perfect. Titus is asking a question right out of the hop here. He's asking, have you ever met Major Ed Dames?
No, I never met him personally.
What do you think of his work?
Yeah, I mean, he's got, he's learned from the same techniques that was conducted at the, Monroe Institute, and he's just applying it and teaches his own techniques, I guess, or lessons, and that works for him, I guess.
All right, let's move on. Big J wants to know what your opinion is of Bob Lazar.
I believe that his experience is genuine. Contrary to most people, a lot of people believe that he's an hoax, and I think he has been discredited multiple times because he was too problematic. I certainly believe that he had access to Area 51. In fact, the name Area 51 was first mentioned by him. So, the idea of it, that he talked about the anti-gravitational spacecraft that were found in those facilities is pretty much like a no-brainer today. Like, everybody knows that, but that's how it all started. So I do, see him as a genuine person who had a lot to share.
All right. I still believe him. I know there's a lot of evidence out there that says this dude isn't real. He's faking a lot of stuff. I still believe him.
Yeah, a lot of the information has been construed and changed, so he would look like an hoax. But I think that his experience is real. I think he has seen information, and he's not like the perfect character. Of course, he has many flaws. He was involved in dodgy businesses and potential scams, I guess, that caused him lots of trouble. But I also believe that certain agents or government agents at some point have to face certain mind control type of operations on them, so they could just do such things. I don't blame it on all of that all the time, but I think for him specifically, he was heavily targeted at some point.
All right, let's move on here.
Not anymore, but he was at some point, yeah.
Millennium is asking, Sebastian, what's your advice for the best way to increase our consciousness?
That's a very good question. Consciousness itself is a state of mind. So increasing the consciousness is something that is about being more aware. Being more aware, like I said before, I kind of repeat myself there, it's just that we have to be opening ourselves up to entities and even dimensions without criticisms. That's the only one way we can open ourselves up and increase our consciousness, let's say. But by maybe like changing the diet for sure, like you said that before. If you're not ill and you wish to open yourself up to higher dimensions and be clearer, if you already had some issues with that, I think just by changing your diet and being if you don't have the capacity or the contacts to help with it, I think this could definitely have an impact on that.
I think so.
That's pretty much what I would say.
All right. Well, I guess so we can accept that. We can accept that. I appreciate that. All right, let us move on here. In regards to ET contact and the way that ETs get a hold of us, I got to ask you, are we chosen, in your opinion, or do they just look for some beacon of light that is coming up through the strange and weird ether of humanity to choose who they want to communicate with or send messages to or even abduct?
We're not chosen per se because like I said before, the interactions with those ETs has been voluntarily done as a soul being. So we agreed to help them achieve what they wanted to do on Earth. So it's not like we're not the chosen ones. We volunteer to do that, to help them. Some people would decide to, criticize their own experiences for saying, "Oh, I'm being, abducted, and they take my ovaries, and I have like babies and all of that." You just have to realize that as a human being, that experience might be very traumatic. But at the same time, if your soul agreed to have such experience to begin with, that means you are strong enough to cope with it. There's a writer, an ex-lawyer who lives in Sydney on Vancouver Island called Garnet Schollhauser, and he wrote many books on the topic about how your soul was, chosen. In that sense, so you decide to have this kind of human experience, and he talked about very deep subjects like people subjected to rapes and murder and all of that, and nothing happens by mistake. So through the karmic experiences, what you have to realize is there is no such judgment done up there, but it's more about the learning curve. And if you die and then you go back up and you kill someone, then you may relive that experience fully when you die, and you kind of go through it's like a 360-degree experience that you relive, and that changes your behavior or the way things are happening on a soul level. But it doesn't mean that as a human being you remember any of that. You just do things because you feel compelled to do it. Sometimes you might be driven to do it. It's a big unknown, I guess. But that's what Garnet Schollhauser writes about from his own experiences with his, I believe, his spirit guide that came to him while he was going off for lunch, leaving his law office. So, I mean, there are many people out there that have such experiences from the business world or the academic world, and they can't explain it, and it changed their lives the same way as it changed mine.
All right. Human Carl is asking, Sebastian, what do you think of us having had bases or currently having bases on the moon?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's very real. The same way as, there are some bases on Mars. But the thing is, again, that's like way, like we need like another like 3 hours on that. But yeah, sure. The moon bases are already there. It's already been used as a ground for studying the planets, for the secret space program. I believe that the moon was already visited in 1958, and people have been on the other side of the moon, on the dark side of the moon, because that's sheltered from the telescopes and all the people that are trying to observe the moon with their high efficiency telescopes today. So they are on the dark side of the moon, and yeah, they've been there for a long time. So there are some secret Space Force fleet that are already there. The Trump administration is trying to change that, but that's just like working in coordination with the secret space program.
All right. Fitness Girls is asking, did the movie Men Who Stare at Goats help or hinder the field of remote viewing, in your opinion?
Well, I would see that as a comedy, but it's an interesting movie. It's just that it's not reality. You have to realize that the characters were all fictional. They may have been based on real characters, but it's a movie. It's a Hollywood movie. So it kind of introduced the idea of using psychedelic drugs and LSD to have an experience, which again was part of the experiences, but in early stages of remote viewing. But I think the military has gone beyond that because, once at some point it became illegal, even if some dark programs are still using some other types of drugs other than LSD today for different reasons. But it doesn't mean that it's useless. I mean, it has proven to enhance some certain abilities at the time in the 60s, early 50s. But nowadays, I think it's way past that. Remote viewers nowadays are definitely more acute beings who have definitely more psychic abilities. They are more out there. As a community, we are definitely, we are not as sheltered as I would say, and there are way more people out there that can do what I do.
Brett is asking, what do you think is happening on Nibiru as they approach our solar system?
Well, yeah, that's been going on for a long time. Nibiru should be right here by now, but it's not. I don't believe that Nibiru as a planet is right now on its way, or if it is, it's still like a long way away. If it was that close, we already feel the effect on the planet because of the field of the planet itself being a giant planet. There's no way the Earth would be still sustaining its current environment as we know it if Nibiru was that close.
All right. Lie is asking, have you ever remote viewed Antarctica? And if so, what have you seen?
Yes, actually I have. So in Antarctica, I was actually in the body of an actual alien being that just woke up. And that being was in a sort of sarcophagus thing with a very advanced type of, container, I guess, with a lot of technology inside. And I remember him pressing certain digits from the inside, coming out of his capsule and observing other beings that looked like giant beings with beak-like noses. And they were very muscular, very powerful beings. And they just were observing the grounds from the ice of Antarctica. As to know what those beings were, when this happened, I have no idea. I didn't really focus too much attention on that. But yes, I have. As to know what's going on with the secret space program or the inner Earth. I was always very interested in the inner Earth and Shambhala, for a long time. But I do believe that they are definitely multidimensional beings living underground, as well as physical beings, advanced beings that do live in the inner Earth. I'm not like a flat Earth theorist, but I do believe that there are holes on the poles that allow entryways for these realms with potential suns on the inside of the Earth. Because when you think about it, the ocean right now, for what we have on the surface, is only like a third of what's on the inside. We don't really fully know that there are some mountains as high as the Mount Everest inside the Earth with an atmosphere inside it, and that's been observed lately by scientists that they could never fathom the idea of that before. But we don't really know how the inner Earth or what's underneath the Earth as much as we know it, because it's subjected to so many different types of environments. We just simply don't know. But as to know if there were some beings, the Hopi Indians believe that there were some lizard beings underground living there. They were, some were benevolent, some were malevolent. Many races on the planet in history have talked about beings living underground that were very highly intelligent, and they were there before us as human beings. So I would not disqualify that story, because I believe it's very genuine.
Mm-hmm. Sebastian Martin is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Sebastian, there's a lot of people who say they can't astral travel or remote view certain parts of the world, like Antarctica, like Area 51, places like that, even around the Pentagon. Have you struggled in those areas as well?
No, I never struggled, but I've been there, yeah. I've been to White Sands, and I've been to different places. There are some places in New Mexico, Utah, like Area 52. There are some places where hiding aliens underground in prison cells with high securities, and they are learning from those beings. I've seen that. I remote viewed all of these beings, all of these places, and the way they deliver food to them, and how they use different types of technologies. Yeah, I mean, all of that is very real. And plus, I've been involved with people who actually worked in those facilities too, so I know these places are definitely genuine.
All right, let's get to Nicole's question here, who says I don't smile enough on our YouTube camera. Ouch.
Are you on camera?
I am on camera on YouTube, yes.
Oh, do you want me to be on camera?
No, because I only have that audio setting set up. And you're way better looking than me, and I don't need to be shamed here for,
All right.
trying to get past on a solid 5.3 on the look scale here. All right. Nicole is asking, what are your thoughts, Sebastian, on physical mediumship?
Yeah, I mean, that's real. I mean, mediumship is people who can interact with either ET beings or the multidimensional beings or spirits. It's so vast. I mean, mediums can access so many different levels. Sometimes it's even hard to detect or differentiate because they all kind of look the same, but you have a different feel. I mean, I can do the same thing. I just don't do it because that's on my line of work, but I can certainly interact with beings and spirits. It's just that they have a different type of energy. And the alien beings definitely have a very different, more dense energy, I would say, than the light beings of the spirit world that have detached themselves from their physical bodies. And some of them are also more lost. So there's definitely more of a sense of despair or, I would say, like unknown. And they simply don't know what to do with themselves, and they are lost, in this dimension or in between. and they just want to escape. They want to leave. So I have helped in the past with some beings like that, trying to send them to the light. I've done it for friends who had their places riddled with poltergeist or spirits. I don't make a living off that. I never charge for any of that. I just do it for fun. But yeah, I think the interaction with the spirit guides is also very different because they're already realized beings in the higher realms, and so you can certainly interact with those beings. They have a much clearer conscience, I guess. For the ET beings, it's very different. They are more curious, so you can feel that. That's the density aspect, the dense aspect of things that I felt with them. And that's what most medium feel like when they download information from them. There's definitely like an agenda associated with it. So it's a bit more complex, I guess. So that's how we describe mediumship.
All right. Let's get to Fitness Girls. They are asking, Sebastian, have you ever remote viewed something that you wish you hadn't?
Yes. Yes, I have. But, I mean, some part I can't talk about it, but some of the parts is, what's interesting about remote viewing is when it concerns my own life, like my close family, I can't remote view that as much because it's too close to home. But when it concerns other people, I can certainly see very clearly. But in terms of one session when I saw that Draco that saw me going there because I was not prepared for it, I did that as a favor, and I remote viewed a place in in Eastern Europe to do with the Stargate, and I clearly saw the technology there. But then there was this Draco present that completely ruined my day there, and for the week following that. So I mean, yeah, it's certainly something that I wish I didn't do at the time. But I was not told that those beings were present when those people knew that they were there. So I felt a bit angry at that at the time.
All right, my friend, it is time for us to wrap this thing up because we only got a couple of seconds left with you. I want to say thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. Very much appreciate you taking the time to interact with our audience and answer some pretty darn good questions about remote viewing and big bad ETs that are wandering around from the future and from the stars. Thank you so much, Sebastian.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much, Dave.
All right, and you go enjoy your cigar now. You worked hard for that, my friend. You worked hard for that. All right, 1 second here, because coming up next, we have Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, which, of course, you can find all of the news hanging out on our website, spacedoutradio.com. And we got the thought of the day. What do you think of unarming Yosemite Sam and Elmer Fudd? More Spaced Out Radio coming up.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thaw, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month, and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night, where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from vans to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
we're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time. Special thanks to everybody who has tuned us on in all over the world, wherever you are. Reminder, you could check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we get to a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on the SOR Newswire and much more. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show, and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. Speaking of the news, let's do this thing, shall we? The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the downright awesome. You know, a few months ago, we did this story on the show about Forrest Fenn, the gold hunting treasure that was somewhere out in the wilderness, thought to be in the Rocky Mountains, could have been in California, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado. Could have been anywhere. Well, thousands of brave souls have ventured into the Rockies for the past decade. Some had died, all in search for the treasure chest filled with gold, rubies, emeralds, and diamonds. But that adventure has come to an end. Forrest Fenn's treasure has been found. Forrest Fenn, the 89-year-old art and antiquities collector who created the treasure hunt, made the announcement Sunday on his website. It was under a canopy of stars in the lush forested vegetation of the Rocky Mountains and had not moved from the spot where I hid it more than 10 years ago. Forrest wrote on his announcement, "I do not know the person who found it, but the poem in my book led him to the precise spot. The treasure was found a few days ago by a man who did not want to be named," Fenn told the media. He noted, however, that the man was from back east and that he confirmed his discovery by sending Fenn a photograph of his newfound riches. The treasure, estimated to be over $1 million, was a way for Fenn to inspire people to explore nature and give people hope that are affected by the Great Recession, he said. Clues leading to the treasure's location were included in a 24-line poem published in Fenn's 2010 autobiography, The Thrill of the Chase. Fenn estimated that as many as 350,000 people from all over the world went hunting for this treasure. Some quit their jobs to fully dedicate their lives to the hunt, and some even died. I congratulate the thousands of people who participated in the search and hope they will continue to be drawn by the promise of other discoveries, Fenn said on his website. That is so cool. And I was actually a part of a couple of Forrest Fenn Facebook groups, and it was weird today watching them change their names, because they had been dedicated to this cause for so long. I think it's great that Fenn's treasure was finally found. NASA has plans to land the very first woman on the moon by 2024, as well as the next man. This historic monument and moment will be achieved through NASA's pioneering Artemis Lunar Exploration Program, which will utilize innovative new technologies and systems to explore a significantly greater expanse of the moon's surface. Through Artemis, NASA will work in collaboration with commercial and global partners, establishing sustainable exploration by 2028. NASA will then build upon lessons learned both on and around the moon for their big goal of sending astronauts to Mars. Astronauts aboard the Orion spacecraft will be launched into lunar orbit almost 250,000 miles away from Earth using NASA's extremely powerful new rocket, the Space Launch System. After the astronauts land on the moon, NASA will then set about exploring the entire lunar surface using both human and robotic explorers. Astronauts will be sent to new locations, beginning with the lunar South Pole. This exploration will involve finding and using water, as well as other vital resources required for long-term exploratory missions. Astronauts will seek to unlock the moon's many mysteries, all whilst learning more about the Earth and the wider universe. Through the mission, NASA will investigate how astronauts may live and work on the surface of another celestial body while looking at the technologies needed before they can send a crew on a 3-year round trip to Mars. How cool is that? Former police officer and chief says a fund was prudent and judicious, building up a $74 million surplus. The province of Alberta's UCP government is taking money away from victims to fund policing initiatives in the province, a move opponents of the proposed legislation changes have called unethical and just a ploy. Justice Minister Doug Schweitzer proposed the changes to the Victims of Crime Act and fund that would allow the government to dip into money meant to support those affected by crime. We really feel that someone's peeked over the fence and saw it and thought, well, I could use that, said Alf Rudd. Rudd is a former police chief in 2 different Alberta jurisdictions and the president of the Alberta Police-Based Victims Services Association, which represents 70 programs across the province. When someone is the victim of a crime, emotional and financial and physical supports like hotels are available through victim services across the province. Now the government wants to dip into that surplus. Money for the fund comes from provincial fine charges imposed following convictions with objective to help crime victims through financial release and support systems. It's a conflict, he says. It seems to create a financial incentive, or at least the appearance that there is a financial benefit to the prosecution and to the police to make sure that the cases end in convictions. Yeah, moving on here. Moving on. A panda bear at the Copenhagen Zoo in Denmark escaped from its enclosure Monday morning after it was found wandering loose in the facility's garden. Of course, where's a panda bear going to go? 7-year-old male panda Jing Er was found by a janitor in the zoo's garden early Monday and was recaptured by zoo staff using a tranquilizer dart. Bent Holst, scientific director at Copenhagen Zoo, said security camera footage showed the bear climbing a pole and making its way past an electrified fence surrounding the panda enclosure, which was built before the animal's arrival in 2019. The panda was not injured, that's good, and they are now sealing up what they need to seal up. Oh, yeah. So, I don't know. Let's move on. Yep. Another great white shark killing. You know how I feel about this. A 60-year-old surfer is dead after being killed by a 10-foot great white shark off the coast of Australia. Yeah, the man received a bite to the back of his thigh and was brought to shore by other surfers who had fought off the shark, but he just didn't make it. The victim, from Tugun, just over the state border of Queensland, received first aid but died on the beach. A shark biologist assessed photographs and confirmed a white shark was responsible for the fatal attack. No kidding. New South Wales ambulance said it was a dreadful situation. When you get a call to attend a shark attack, you never really know the full extent of the damage until you get on the scene. They did everything they could to try and save his life, but despite their best efforts, were unable to do so. Nearby beaches were cleared of swimmers and surfers and will remain closed for 24 hours. Stuart Gonzel, a resident of the area, had just arrived at the beach and when he saw the fatal attack. We came down, we hadn't got in the water, and police were immediately hauling people in. We found out there was a fatal shark attack, and we're going to go in, but not now. It's the 3rd fatal shark attack in Australia this year. Of course there is. That's what happens when you play in someone else's aquarium. It's easy. You don't have to go play in the ocean. There's big things in there. Big things that want to bite and harm and maim and destroy. I'm telling you, it's just not right. Just not right. Here's a cool one. Providing a remarkable peek into the dietary habits of a 110 million-year-old nodosaur, a team of paleontologists from the Royal Tyrrell Museum of Paleontology, Brandon University, and the University of Saskatchewan have revealed stomach contents representing the armored dinosaur's final meal of fern leaf fragments and various plant fossils preserved right down to the cells. This one-ton type of ankylosaur, officially known as, I'm not going to pronounce it because I will butcher it, was first discovered back in 2011 during mining operations near Fort McMurray, Alberta. Mummified in the thick mud of the ancient sea, the fossil was found upside down and in pristine condition for a creature that once roamed the dense primeval forests of North America in the middle of the Cretaceous period. Followed by a meticulous 6-year excavation and restoration of its intact skin and bones by the museum technician Mark Mitchell, the spiky nodosaur was put in on display in the Museum of Paleontology in Alberta in 2017. A new study detailing the results of the scientific research has just been released. According to the paper, analysis of the soccer ball-sized cololite, or petrified stomach, shows well-preserved plant material dominated by leaf tissue, including intact sporangia, leaf cross-sections, and cuticles, and a few stems, wood, charcoal. I mean, this thing was a vegan. Let's just be honest. It was a vegan. Why can't they just call it that? The documented study represents the most detailed evidence of plant-based diet ever unearthed in a herbivorous dinosaur. Well, that's cool. Got a couple more here. Firefighters in Scotland said they used a specialist cutting equipment to rescue a fox cub that had its head stuck through the middle of a rusty old wheel. The Knightswood Community Fire Station tweeted photos showing the young fox found with its head stuck through the middle of the disused wheel. Big rusted out. Firefighters said they cut through the rusted metal and set the fox free. The animal, good news, did not appear to be injured and was released from the scene. All right. This one, I don't know. This one's got me fired up. Really, really fired up. I want to spend some time on this. Elmer Fudd and Yosemite Sam will be sporting different looks in the Looney Tunes cartoons that launched on the new streaming service HBO Max. While their outfits remain the same, both will no longer carry guns. The cartoons will have plenty of sticks of Acme Dynamite and cartoon violence because, you know, we're not allowed to have guns, but we can promote IEDs. But Elmer Fudd will no longer carry his oversized hunting rifle, and Sam will not have his pistols. How do you have a hunter without a gun and a cranky Wild West cowboy without his pistols? We're not doing guns, executive producer and showrunner Peter Braungart said in an interview with the New York Times, but we can do cartoony violence. Yeah, because TNT, the Acme stuff, all that was kind of grandfathered in. So we could blow stuff up, but we can't shoot guns. In a short titled Dynamite Dance, Fudd uses now a scythe as he chases his nemesis Bugs Bunny. The Wascally Wabbit responds by using explosives to blow Fudd up multiple times. No danger in that, right? No mention is made whether or not that the guns being removed was a response to gun violence and school shootings in the U.S. Warner Brothers owns the company. Okay. I'm going to say this. I don't usually get political. All right, but I wrote a blog on this, which you can find at spacedoutradio.com. And I'm going to say this. I am not a gun owner. I've never owned a gun. I do not have a gun license. I am not part of the NRA. Because I'm Canadian, I really don't care about the Second Amendment of the United States. It does nothing to affect me. But the one thing that I do know is a lot of responsible gun owners. And the way they are being picked on these days is horrific. It's horrific. And we got to stop putting blame on things. We got to start thinking about reality and taking responsibility for our own actions. We do. All right. I come from a family of gun violence. My sister was shot, and she lost a finger due to a shotgun blast. Her friend was killed. This was back in 1984, 85. All right. So I know the effects of this. But we're not stupid people. No time watching the Looney Tunes did I ever think of picking up a gun and shooting someone. And let's remember, most shootings that happen are from illegal firearms. Illegal firearms. Take a read at my blog. You'll understand a little bit more at spacedoutradio.com. By the way, Yosemite Sam and Elmer Fudd, literally the worst shots next to the stormtroopers. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air, because we love the audience participation around here. What's your thoughts on Warner Brothers stripping Elmer Fudd and Yosemite Sam of their guns? Derek going nuts with a Tasmanian Devil gif. They did what? Shanna. Steven Spielberg regretted replacing the guns in E.T. with walkie-talkies and ended up using the gun version for the Blu-ray release. I think the original version should have been left alone, otherwise people start talking about the Mandela effect. Nathan, it's BS. I'm not happy to hear that at all. Marty, both Elmer and Yosemite are terribly bad shots. They should get some gun training before they get their guns back. And I'm not sure about the clown tonight, Marty. Not sure. It looks a little weird. Mr. Skeptic, the golden age of Warner Brothers cartoons ended around 1960-ish. I don't care what they do now. It's a different animal. We'll always have the old stuff. It will never go away. The more they foul up the new production, the more enjoyable the classics become. Jay says it's completely ridiculous. Alcatraz Juan, it's more of the left indoctrination of children. Do you really want to go there? Audra, I hadn't heard this yet, but it seems unnecessary. As a kid, I thought Elmer Fudd should give up and Yosemite Sam was crazy. We all knew that not what you do with guns. I say stop the remakes, then we won't have to worry about changing our classic cartoons. Antisocial Moth. Oh yeah, fictional characters are so dangerous. Then again, deities in books? Oh, never mind. Christoph. This is just wrong. It detracts from the show. Chip, where does it stop? Next thing you know, A&E is going to strip me of my scarf. Hashtag Scarfgate. Lynn, it's ridiculous. Elmer Fudd always missed anyways. It's cartoons. They make you laugh. Something in short supply of these days. Brett, hide Marvin's ray gun. Next, they will be putting the Acme Co. out of business. Wile E. Coyote won't be able to get his dynamite cannons and rockets, but Roadrunner will still have his magic tunnel paint. Jason, one word, greed. They're afraid of losing money with a controversial product, so they believe removing the guns will help their bottom line. Having said that, I don't think guns belong in children's cartoons, but trying to erase this past is a misguided effort. Okay, I agree with that comment, but I'm going to add to this. What about dynamite? What about dynamite? What about TNT? So we're allowed to teach our kids how to build IEDs. Yes, I'm being a little bit over-exaggerative. But we're not allowed to shoot a gun, which is very legal to do in North America. Just saying. Scott calls it pathetic. John says, seriously? Susan, it's 2020. Everything gets taken too seriously. Scott, doesn't matter. The classics are way better. Denise, it's a ridiculous decision. Kent calls BS. Joyce, how are they going to hunt without a gun? Well, he carries a scythe now, because every hunter out there going for bears and deer and everything like that, if you're into that sort of thing, carries a scythe with them. Kim, life has changed. Roll with it, or the things you hang on to could pull you down. Joel, they're Americans and they have their rights. Second Amendment carries over in Looney Tune land too. They have to protect their freedom from Marvin, which brings up a good point. So does Marvin the Martian get to keep his laser pistol? I mean, let's be honest. That guy's been actively trying to destroy the Earth for quite some time now. What are they going to use for protection? Obviously, Duck Dodgers was always a hit or miss option. John Greenwald from the Black Vault. The world has gone mad. No guns, but dynamite in the mouth is perfectly fine. Tim, Warner Brothers should stick to making their classic indie films with the likes of Farrelly or the Farrelly or Coen brothers. Kurt calls it dumb. Jeanette, I think they moved to Canada. Robert calls it ridiculous. John says leave it. Elmer doesn't know how to use it anyways. Chris, downright dumb. Catherine, if that's going to save society, let's all pull video games where humans hunt humans and steal cars and hypersexuality of women. Corey gets the final word tonight. Everything's become too PC these days. There was nothing wrong with it when I was growing up, but now all of a sudden it's an issue. This is just ridiculous. Thank you for everybody participating in the Thought of the Dave. We will do it all again tomorrow on our Facebook and Twitter pages. So make sure you respond because we want to read your responses on the air as well. So thank you for that. Thank you to Captain Shirk for an awesome SOR Newswire. And, of course, to Sebastian Martin for coming in to talk about aliens and remote viewing. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone participating in our chat rooms on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club on our website, and on Twitter to all the snarkers and snarkettes hanging out, posting their comments at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You were a lot of fun tonight. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Remember, everybody, the Woo train may have docked, but it will depart tomorrow night at the same time. Your ticket never expires. Your seat is always available. Come ride the Woo with us. We'll be waiting for you. Good night.